Okay, so let's talk about GTSE 19.
Oh, sure.
Yes, this was an event that we were both invited to yesterday time of this recording. And this was hosted by a good friend of mine. His name is Ansel Harris. He is the founder of GT Network, which pretty much promotes Caribbean content, but more emphasis on stuff from Trinidad and Tobago or stuff that he's created. And in his case now, you know, what I mean, it's something I've known about it for quite some time. He's very much into comic books. He's very much into superheroes, right? So
Yeah.
well, what he said, you know, at the very beginning of the presentation of his presentation is that he was creating characters from like each tree. You know what I mean? So he has hundreds of characters, and well, I assume a good chunk of them are superheroes, right? So he's been teasing with these three characters over the past few years since the inception of GT Network, right? But this was
Right.
the time that we really got to see actual trailers, not just snapshots and posters and whatnot. So those three characters are Tarson, Night Rogue, which I saw a trailer of. The same trailer that actually showed that night actually. He showed it back there, and Magnolia, but it's spelled
Right.
Magnolia.
I mean,
That's just mainly because, well, we have the PTA movie Magnolia from
right.
1999, and we have the distribution company, the film distribution company Magnolia, right? So, you know, it's copyright stuff. Um, and I mean, what I would just say, though, just about the event itself. It was well attended. I would say, you know, saw some familiar faces, some people that I've always wanted to meet, some people I haven't seen in ages. Actually, there was some technical hiccups here or there, but I mean, it's the first time. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
There's the two things that, well, just a couple of small things that bother me. Yeah, I thought they could have just simply, yeah, you have to just simply practice this stuff, man. Just run it through, see when are working before everybody show up now.
yeah. Well, I assume
Right.
this is what they were doing the Friday before. I assume that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, apparently
yeah.
not. But another thing that just kind of bother me, like seriously, you had to shine a projector on a white screen. Come on. Yeah. Or a reflective
Yes,
screen.
yes, yes.
Cannot be shine a reflector on a green screen, brother. That don't work at all. It was not a problem,
Yeah,
but
it was,
it's,
especially with us not just being able to see the colors, because you
yeah,
know we
exactly.
expected to see the colors of what's going on, right? But
Right, right.
that's just, you know, minor gripes, right? But yeah, really and truly, you know, I just what blows me away is not just that this is somebody from Trinidad and that this is that's somebody that I know, but that it's somebody who just really has just all these great ideas and willing to just put them out. You know what I mean? Develop them however which way he could. You know what I mean? I remember at first, you know, when I first met him, it was comics and cartoons basically that he wanted to do. But now he's stepped things up. Because he's had his hand with live action filmmaking for like about 10 years actually, I would say. You know what I mean? Now he's tackling, well, you know, he's basically adapting his comic book characters into live action. And
Yeah,
that is something so incredibly ambitious. But you know me, I love ambitious people. It's just, and I told him this
right,
actually afterwards. It's just a matter of just creating great characters, great stories, and you know they will sell themselves. You know what I mean? So
right.
this to me is groundbreaking. But I like that, you know, with an event like this, it's just like, okay, this is like the seeds being planted here. This is us slowly developing these things. But I see this thing, I see, you know, these characters and these shows, just blowing up, you know what I mean, and just really impacting not just our quote unquote film industry, but you know, just Caribbean film as a whole.
Right.
Just showing people simply that it doesn't have to be about PSAs about AIDS and rape, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be documentaries.
Although,
It
although,
doesn't have to be.
although, although we kind of guess up like that later on.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Well, all right. I forgot to mention too. We were also introduced to a 16-year-old director. Well, she actually made
right,
her first short film through GT Network actually,
right,
and it was about suicide. You know what I mean? And
right.
well,
Okay, so
it
what happens at this year the film festival, the one thing I went to, which was the one film I went to, but it was coupled with a bunch of other films. It was all the high school films, and yeah, most of the
you or you saw the capstone stuff. Okay.
No, well, I don't know, capstone or high school. I don't know what to call it.
Oh, you
It's
mean
just high school.
like secondary school stuff? Okay,
Secondary
okay.
school, yes. Yes.
I thought you meant UE stuff. Okay.
No, high school stuff. And I the high school stuff, I the movie was more or less identical to one of those. So like it was those. Pretty much the same
Yeah,
thing. Same
but
theme,
yeah,
same ideas.
I
I
mean, it's
I
a first
I
timer. I
asked
mean,
answer this,
I would
huh?
have been even my first time stuff. I don't want to look at kids like, you know what I mean. But just want to say this quick. The cool thing is, well, this is actually a big announcement. Is that she will be co-directing
Right,
with Ansel on Magnolia actually once they
right,
start to get the ball rolling with making the series, and
right,
that's just a big achievement. That's a big opportunity,
right. So
especially
as I say,
at
the
her
thing,
age.
yeah, the thing with this is that again, Ansel is in a really tough position because at the end of the day, money, right? He
That's always
need
the
some donation.
disadvantage.
I found it kind of strange why he put it in the place in there because I thought this is something that you had to find yourself in Medulla Art Gallery or some shit to pull off.
Or I mean in Port of Spain as opposed
Right.
to a studio, a music studio,
Exactly.
out
Yeah.
of the way actually in Barataria.
Right. Exactly. And then I it's kind of a weird space to go to, but whatever. And then I thought that you're gonna be courting some people, not me. I mean, guys like me is not the kind of people you should court for this, right? But for one, we're just trying to through the grapevine. I hear they have a couple little names. Hopefully, they should invest in them if they get you, and I really hope they get you because the with it too is that he need it's not that he need better equipment per se. Again, I even though I'm that kind of person, I don't think you should be an equipment monger per se. But
You could
he
have the best equipment to make a shitty film, huh? Let's be
exactly,
real here.
exactly.
Let's be real here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But my thing is that you should still fight up to try to get a decent enough camera to belt up because they ask him little things like how you're not shooting in 4K and how come so and he's like, no, we're shooting in 1080p and it coming out to 720p. Like, well, that's nice, but you need to do that kind of stuff. And you could tell a lot of stuff still not finished. Again, to me, there's only one thing that matters in this, which is Ansel's mindset and attitude, right, about this, right? He has a lot of pluckiness, right? And you have to make that work, and that goes a long way. And the guy who's the writer I thought was quite impressive. And I'll put the analogy I use right now is good seeds need good soil, right? So
Yes.
and he needs water. So I would like to see that happen, hopefully for him. The only help I could give per se is to the writer, right? Like to see, I actually gave him a little help out and a little link to see what I could do with a lot of that. So that's
Right.
about it. But
Okay.
yeah, I felt he just could have prepared the show a little better. I mean, I was cool and I was amongst friends, so it was fine. It wasn't like some all stodgy and this has to be perfect. And no, nothing like that. But at the same time, I thought he could have just prepared and had the show flow a little better. But that's about it.
Yeah,
As
I agree. Yeah, but really, what I got out of it is just the courage and just the ambition to just go along with this
yeah,
thing. It's not like,
right,
oh, look at me and all my cool ideas, and like, I don't care if you don't like. It's not like that. It's just this is yeah, this could actually make a difference. You know what I mean? Not just to um once again, quote unquote, our film industry,
right,
but just for the target audience. I mean, teenagers and young adults now, just showing them that there is possibilities not just with film but with
right.
storytelling, with creativity and whatnot.
And to be brutally honest about this, I've seen a graveyard of people like Ansel, right? These people
Yeah,
who yeah,
I've met a few actually. I've met a few.
yeah,
They
exactly.
come, they
They,
burn out in about a year
they
or
know.
less, and that's it. You don't
He
hear about them
what
again.
I at least get from him is that he is realistic.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes, yes.
he understands. So I would like, but I would really love if he gets like a good somebody really give him a little something. Not much. Just give him a little something, just enough to have him breed. Just or don't give him too much so you don't get too fat and get lazy. Just enough to keep you lean. And so you focus on your project and you focus on a single project. And I really hope what they're pulling off, if they could just sit down and could get what they needed to do for the summer of 2020. Yeah, the three projects look okay. Nightrogue looks the most promising for me personally. It's the
Yeah,
one that you could
it does.
it's the one you could pull off character wise the best, I think.
Of
Um,
course, and because it doesn't rely, I'm assuming it's not going to
right,
rely on any big VFX now.
exactly. Tarzan looks okay as well. Is interesting. It's actually notoriously similar to my comic, at least at the beginning. Um, um, yeah, nothing too close, but it has some of these same essential premises and working ideas, whatever. And the shout out to what's she name? Julia,
yeah,
who plays
Who plays
Julia,
Tarzan.
right. Yeah, she looks great. I think she's a dancer or something like that. I was like, whoa, you really get a good actress for that.
Yeah.
Looks great, I think, and the guy who plays Nitro, great look. So you'll get some
Yes.
excellent
Yes,
screen
definitely. Yeah.
presence.
Hmm.
Yeah, some excellent screen presence from that. And yeah, overall, I want to see what they're going to do with that. For the last one, I forget the name. It's slipping my mind right now.
That's Magnolia.
Magnolia. That feels the least complete. Um, in my opinion, at least. It doesn't feel too fleshed out. I kind of get what he was going for with it, but it doesn't feel like he sit down with that and make the world building for it for what it is. Personally, and this is more, you don't listen to me because this is Monday morning unsolicited advice. I would probably try to just have a tighter focus on one of the stories and one of the characters instead of trying to do this all universe thing all at once. And if it's anything I would focus on the most, it would be Tarzan first, right? Because you still need to pull the world into uh the whole super well, not supernatural but super extraneous stuff, right? The idea of
Yes, yes, yes.
you have powers and so on so.
Yeah, and
And,
then you could show, well, not so much the polar opposite. You show the other side of it with Night Rogue. You know, what I mean, somebody who has no
right,
powers.
exactly. And even though Night Rogue gonna be could be easily the best in terms of writing, and if it could sit down and make Night Rogue work and have Night Rogue make more sense, then fine. But yeah, ultimately, this I am in full support of this. Tupac said, our rogues could grow through concrete, and you're really getting that from Ansel,
Oh yeah,
and
oh yeah.
and
Great,
I
great
just
reference,
really,
by the way. Great reference.
yeah, I just really want to see him get some money, and it's just me talking shit on the internet, um, just talking. But I want to just try to figure out a way for him to get something. He had to start like a Kickstarter or something to just get a budget now, and
Yeah.
put out a project and a really solid smart project, and for I don't know when he could do it. Well, he said it's summer 2020 because everything seemed to be private.
Mhm.
But I don't know, figure out a way to get something get it done and to push it. Um, to push something out and get a good job and give us a good product. But yeah, I rooting for this dude, all the way. Um, want to see him. I want to see him flourish. He doing big things. So shout out to Ansel Harris, brother. I really, really, really want to see you succeed.
Yeah, same here, man. I mean, I have been burnt before as far as film goes, but I mean, Ansel has been one of the people who never gave up, even though
Yeah,
some things didn't play out the way how he did, how he expected them to,
yeah,
play out
yeah.
actually. So for me, that's inspirational. You know what I mean? So no, I'm not gonna be all ambitious and want to make some big sci-fi film. Wink, wink. Based in Trinidad. But at the same time, though, if I could just kind of dial things back and be like, okay, this is what I can do now, and then when I'm ready, when I have the resources, or when I have the proper story done, everything that's when I can tell the story. So it's baby steps. That's the point again. This baby steps get it to where it is you need to reach. So in his case, it's a network. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to worry about putting movies out in theaters. It's just shows on the station and that's it, right? So he could take his time with it. But I just want him to be a little careful. You know what I mean? Don't bite off more than he can chew. And yeah, just take your time, just building your world, just developing your world.
And
And
I see
yeah,
that's the sad part about this too is that you know the kind of advice that I would give also, that's the advice you and I would give is like, oh, be careful and be cautious, but it might be the exact type of advice that will be bad for him now. But I can't tell him. I feel it also feels irresponsible to tell him, oh no, you gotta do your thing, big things, man, and put yourself out there, and then you get burned, right?
right,
And
exactly. Because we kind of
and
went through that in a way.
kind of right,
So
exactly.
it may not be as similar as what he went through, or what he will go through.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But as I say, he did the most important thing of all. He understood that he might be in a space where he might not be the big super success, and it's really going to be the next generation to do it. And that's that's where really soul meant for him now.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
when he talked about the girl, the young director, I forget her name. I really, it's I'm bad with names, you know that. Um, and I was like, okay, you really understand. You understand how to deal with this and how to make it work and to go forward. And this kind of short-sighted selfishness that a lot of local creation have in terms of making projects. That is a big mistake. You're not seeing what the future is, and your real plans have to be about that, right? That is your long-term thing. It's not you have to be the vanguard, of the attack, right? And you're really setting things up for future agents, right?
Of
And that's
course,
why I think
yeah.
that's why Ansel is in. I think Ansel in that space, and once he understands that, that's the most important part that you're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
from it.
It's
You want him
who
to
you it's who you inspire. So not saying that
exactly
the next generation is gonna be making superhero shows, but they
right.
could make films like I say, doesn't have
Well,
to
yeah,
they could do different genres and not be afraid to
yeah,
do it. Just be creative with it, you know what I mean?
yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It really does the matter of giving people the chance and the space now. So by the time they're in a position like where you are, they could do amazing stuff.
Right. And
Um,
yeah, you lay the foundation just for other people
exactly.
to
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. I had a fun night. Yeah, I bought an enormously high amount of Subway cookies. So I was just eating that whole night and enjoying it. And then yeah, I was just talking shit with you and Summer and enjoying
Yeah.
and having fun. I had a fun time for the most part. I dug it what it was. I really felt they could have prepared a little better technically, but whatever. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. So awkward transition in 5 4 3 2 1. So before I went down to to the event,
yeah,
I took in at long last at Astra.
right.
And the funny thing is, like, both Ansel and you were calling the final for us coming down the road. I was like, yeah, well,
Right.
I called you
Right.
all
So what
afterwards. Like, right?
Yeah, what happens? I didn't know where the place was, and I couldn't find it. And it's only because Ansel came out. I saw him now. I was like, oh shit,
Oh,
okay, that's it. Because
well,
I
some
was
similar happened to me actually.
right,
Okay, but yeah, so I took an Ad Astra. I wanted to go in as blind as possible, but I did see the first trailer for it.
right.
I remember you were like really excited for it. You know what I mean? I mentioned it in
Yes.
previous episodes. You were really excited to see it, but I didn't want to go in with my expectations too high. You know what I mean? Just because I don't know. I just really wanted to appreciate the show for what it is, and not just off of expectations. Speaking of that, this movie has been getting a ton of praise ever since it premiered at TIFF and the Venice Film Festival. Now, many people citing Brad Pitt's performance to be the best ever in his career, which right off the bat I find is BS because I find the man has
I,
been putting out great performances for a majority of his career. So for you to zero in on this one performance and say he's the best is like, well, but we had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just a few months ago, though. What
you
about that?
dig?
Yeah, like what about that? What about that? Right? And also to many people, but this is the real reason why I want to see it. Many people calling this movie a masterpiece. So
Right.
it's like among like along the level of say, well, in a way, Interstellar, I mean, Gravity, stuff like that. But what I would say though, just I would say like this decade we have gotten some great, sci-fi space films now. Um,
Yeah.
Gravity, The Martian, and yes, Interstellar. I do defend it, even
Yeah.
though it does have flaws. And this
Yeah.
movie here too, Ad Astra. But I would say basically it's what each film brings to the table. You know what I mean? So you might find Gravity to be too simple, and the story's too straightforward, and it's kind of silly. You know what I mean? Especially with the fire extinguisher, which
Right.
I mean, yes, it's dumb, but whatever. I love the movie. I love the movie, right? Damn it. But or you might find it to be, or you might want it to be a little bit more complex and more philosophical and existential,
Yeah.
like say Interstellar. Now. But to me, just looking at those four films is like not. You don't necessarily have to do that. It's just an experience. What is the story you're telling? How simple the story is, how complex it is, and yeah, just how much of space you want to show and how gorgeous you can make space look. So I'm
Right.
glad that Ad Astra did what it was supposed to do without having to be too highfalutin. You know what I mean? But that was wondering at first, now, like for y'all to see this movie some kind of big masterpiece, right? It had to be
Right.
on the kind of highfalutin side of things, right? Kinda. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The always
Well,
like the next
it
2001.
it felt
So I don't know.
yeah, the thing. What they did with this movie, in some ways it felt like the exact opposite of what a highfalutin space movie would be, because the big sell of it is, oh, everything is just sheer banality of
Right.
space travel. Um, and the central conceit of the story is, I thought they would have done something else with it, but the central conceit also is interesting for what it is now. And I was just surprised that they say, all right, we're not gonna get. I'm gonna put it like this: we're not gonna get space as you think it is, but it's
Right.
just gonna give you this working banality that just you should accept. Because everything is about alienation. But like, well, it's kind of like spoilers for the story, right?
Yeah.
It's a big part of it is just alienation, and that was everything. Everything was about emotions and how to think about things and suppressing emotions, and that is the cause of problems. Stuff like that. And
Yes.
so the film now I was surprised that they decided to go with this, given that it, from a value standpoint, it seems to be the exact opposite of what we think about when you go outer space and the romanticization of space travel,
Right.
especially especially in the light of what was it, the 50th anniversary of Apollo or something like that, right?
Apollo 11. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I was really surprised that the film is philosophically kind of felt like the opposite of what I was what
Expecting.
I thought. Right, in terms of this just the romanticization of space, because it's the anti-romantic space, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
You're right. Actually, you're right.
Yeah,
Come to think of it.
it was just it up like kind of almost like a kind of fu to people who was romanticizing space and when you find out what the plot a lot of the plot was about as well. I'm like, okay, that's strange. That's a strange take. And then it says, all right, well, no, you should really. In many ways, I look at this movie as kind of the anti-Interstellar, in a sense.
Right. Right. Where
It was like,
Interstellar was just about the beauty and the gloriousness of
right,
space and space
Interstellar was,
travel, kinda.
yeah, no, exactly. But Interstellar was, no, our salvation is out there. And this
Yeah.
movie kind of does the opposite, right? It kind of does the opposite with that.
Yeah. And something that I learned after the fact though, because I thought that the film would have explained it, was the meaning of Ad Astra itself, right?
That's a common term. It means to the stars, right? Or something like
Right,
that.
right, right. Which is why at the very beginning, in the
Yeah.
I kind of cited for myself the sort of Blade
Yeah.
Runner esque opening with the
Right.
title with the
Yeah.
text.
That I've read,
You know,
yeah.
they kind of zero in on the words, on the last words. Well, I think it's the last words in the
Yeah.
intro to the
Yeah.
stars. But I didn't pick up
Right.
that's what Ad Astra meant, and I thought it had something to do with. I thought it was like the name of the shuttle or something. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, but just that idea that just human beings look to the stars for everything, for meaning to
Yeah.
life, to the existence,
Right.
to everything. When at times you just had to kind of look within yourself or just look around you. Know what I mean, just where you are. You know?
That's the whole point of this now. That I find
Right.
that's why I find it was really strange they took that route with it now.
Yeah.
But okay. So anyway, tell me about what this movie about, Matthew.
Yeah. So this it's in the near future.
Yeah.
There's these power surges, like these coming out of nowhere actually, affecting the solar system. Right. They've been showing up on Earth. You know what I mean? People have died as a result of these things. And
Yeah.
you see how it kind of affects, just established industry, right? So in this case, we are
Right.
introduced to Roy McBride, who's played by Brad Pitt, and he's working on this space antenna, like probably immensely, ridiculously tall,
So
right?
yeah, I thought that
And
was fucked. So
yeah, it looked awesome. It looked really amazing, right? Especially depth of field, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So one of these surges ends up hitting the antenna.
yeah.
Um, as a result, Roy falls, right? He falls off of the antenna. He's falling down literally from like into Earth's atmosphere, right? But because over the years, him being an astronaut, he has to learn to kind of keep his emotions subdued, you know what I mean? Especially like anger and fear. He kind of playing things out kind of rationally, which surprised me actually. So he
Yeah.
falls to it. Fortunately, he doesn't die, but then afterwards, he kind of deal with the situation. We learn that he was married. Liv Tyler, of all
Yeah.
people, was his wife, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Shame on him. I mean, it's Liv Tyler, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah. No.
But
There's one thing about the movie. There's one thing about the movie that was shocking, that they had all these big stars in it, and they just kind of didn't really
yeah,
use them, though.
that's one gripe that I have with the show. But I'll get to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you learn later on, well, he's called by U.S. Space Command, sorry, and he's
Yes.
told that the surges have something to do with something called the Lima project. Sorry,
Newer project,
um,
yes.
right, and this was a project that was set up to search for intelligent life. Well, in the farthest regions of space, actually, right? Well,
Well,
the
it's the edge
regions
of
that
our
you could see. Yeah.
well, it's the edge of the major planetary bodies of the solar system. So the last major planetary body, Neptune.
Right. So
That's
once you get there,
where
that's where you're right. That's where you could see how far. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, right? And well, the person who was running it just so happened to be Roy's father, Clifford, who was
yes,
played by Tommy Lee Jones, Oscar winner. But later on is it was revealed that the something terrible happened in the project. A lot of people died, but he may be alive because they've been picking up like these signals actually. So the plan is to get Roy to go to Mars actually. So he has to go to the moon, then go to Mars, sorry.
right.
And what I love how with this story here is that it's set up that yeah, there is life, basically what colonial life I would say, on those two planets. You know what I mean? And it's funny too because it feels so commercialized. Like I would say there's one brand that shows up, and when I saw it, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense.
Right.
Like in the near future, yeah, I would see this brand in Mars. You know what I mean? And the way
Oh no, no,
how
yeah, like
it looks like a shopping mall basically. You're seeing escalators, you're seeing
right
kids
on the
there and
moon.
all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. It's like, well,
right on
yeah,
the
this
moon.
makes sense. That makes
No, no,
sense.
yeah, here's what they nail. They absolutely nail the world building in this. Like, I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
they
and it's not like they
did a
spend too
great
much
job.
time explaining stuff,
Yeah,
but they just show you it.
right,
It's like,
yeah.
okay, I
That's
get, all right,
another thing too.
boom, okay,
It's yeah, a lot of things is that the world building is subtle because you're not sure exactly what's going on with I forget the name of the company, XCOM or whatever it is, or Spacecom.
yeah,
Spacecom,
I think it's Spacecom.
like Spacecom. And it was you're not sure because a big part of this is the whole suppression of emotion stuff, right? Once you fail this psyche valve, you're out. It
Yeah,
completely locking you out the system. And I thought that was really interesting, but it's like, okay, well, where's the politics behind that then?
exactly.
Um,
We don't know if it had something to do with Clifford or somebody else that
right, right.
emotions flew off and something bad happened.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. And I thought they did a good I thought they did a decent job with a lot of that to say, well, okay, how are we gonna do this world building as opposed to this, and in telling you it builds into the character because he already accepts this world as it is, and they
Yeah.
have little facts like you say, like little things about the world because okay, so the world you're wondering like, wait, why can't they sort this out or how they can sort that out, and you didn't care. That's what I liked about it. You
Yeah.
could ask questions about the world building, but they give you just enough information to say, all right, you can accept this for now as it is. Like, okay, the moon thing. There's a great action sequence on the moon.
Yeah, involving pirates for some reason.
Pirate,
But
right?
what I like about it too, well, my one gripe with that scene is that I wish it could have been a little bit longer. Sorry, but I loved the
Right.
setup of it, the visuals, the sound design, which is fantastic by the way, because once again, it's space. You're not supposed to be hearing pew pew pew, but when you
Right.
hear explosions in vehicle, I mean,
Yeah,
to
exactly. Just
vehicles, you hear that. So the way how they use sound in that sequence and in the movie as a whole was
yeah,
excellent in my opinion.
yeah. And then they had this great part where you get to the end and you get to the base and you just see these rockets just come and just blow away the guys. Like
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
But
But just to touch on the pirates thing for a bit, sorry, just to touch the thing on the pirates. Like you would understand from once again world building, like okay, you have these people setting up all these like big companies and stuff like that. Okay.
right.
So of course you'll have people who will be against that and for some reason they wouldn't even though they didn't really quite explain, you could kinda think about like,
But
yeah,
that's
I
the
know,
thing.
yeah, they would have people that would be against that and you would call them
But I
pirates, right?
pirates. It don't make sense. To me, it don't make sense. A pirate just living on the moon thing. But the moon ain't that big, right? Moon actually pretty
Right,
small in terms. I think in terms of square areas, about the size of Australia.
right.
Um, and so I think you can easily clamp down on the moon and find people and how you're hiding on the moon and this kind of stuff. So what the implication was, and I think they quickly mentioned this, is that they're being supported by actual powers now, by actual bigger political forces. So it's implied that it's a kind of state-sponsored kind of thing now. It's
Yeah,
more privateers than pirates, which is really interesting, right? So you could tell a whole story on that, but no, that is not the story. They decided to just go with it as it is, and you just move on, which still
exactly.
works, right?
Yeah. So let me just jump into the review there one time, right? Because well, why I have to stop here? And this was something that I noticed early on with the premise, right? Because once again, try to go as blind as possible. This is very much inspired by Apocalypse Now, but I want to go a little bit deeper. I
Yeah.
would say it's very much inspired by the
It's,
book that
it's
the
still
movie
it's
was inspired on, which is Joseph Conrad's
part of
Heart
that.
of Darkness. And
Right,
what
exactly.
I
Right.
mean, like, it's character being called by bigger people to hunt this guy down. It's like, well, the guy more or less defect from the system. He's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's gone rogue.
Right.
So a way to find him, find whatever information you can. You go in with a crew, but the crew don't know what it is you go in for. They're just taking you along, right, on some simple mission, but they don't know what's going on. If they knew, they would have said no, right? And if it comes to it, you kill him. And that really is the gist. It's like if your dad is responsible for all this, then you gotta take him out. And it's just really about Brad Pitt's character dealing with that, like why his father left him at such a young age, what happened, what really happened, with the Lima project, and if it comes to it, like, can I bring my dad back? Can I bring him back to Earth? Or what I mean, what is he doing up there? Why didn't he even make an effort to get back home? You know what I mean? So those things they explore too. But really, why I say Apocalypse Now, it's just the setup of it now. Like in case in point
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
attack on
for
the
sure.
moon. You know what I mean? Like it just like in Apocalypse Now is it's not so much about the destination. It's about the destination and the journey. And in the journey, all these crazy things happen, all these dark um things that just happen this out of the blue, right? But it all adds to what's going on in the psyche of the character. It's just like you're seeing the
Yes.
worst of the worst, and then by the time you reach the destination, it's like, all right, I can make a choice. I could stay where I'm at right now because I get why it is the person I'm looking for is here, or I could just go back home. And that's really what I was picking up on the Apocalypse Now vibe of it. You see it in the character of Roy, he played by Brad Pitt. It's
Yeah.
like you could tell, yes, he has been out to space and whatnot, but because of what he went through, he mentions in the past, he failed people and all that kind of stuff. You see how it affected his life, his marriage, and but you look at how easy he goes back up to space. Similar to
Right.
Martin Sheen's character in Apocalypse Now. It's just like, yeah, the war was hell, but I've nothing else better going on in my life, so I might as well go. You know what I mean? So like that, and then also too, well, just the journey to get there, all the kind of weird, crazy stuff that happened, but it just kind of adds to this big, well, at least the big theme of it that just the beauty, just the what I would say, not the beauty of space travel, the allure of space travel. You know what I mean? The joy of it
Yes.
is not present in the show at all, though. It's just like characters there, but you see them being affected. I mean, so this is what I really loved about the show, which really caught me by surprise. It really got into the psyche of astronaut, no, I would say a space traveler in that period. It's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not as you know as gorgeous and as amazing as you'd expect. It's hell, you know what I mean? Although I would say have a lot of like deaths in the movie that caught me by surprise though. It's like really all these people just die just so you know what I mean? And that just I understand from a character building perspective, it's supposed to affect um Brad Pitt mentally, but still it's
Right.
like, okay, so every situation you're gonna be in, you're gonna be attacked. Somebody's gonna die, you know what I mean? It was
Okay.
like
So
that, but
a couple moments that kind of lose me. The space baboons didn't work. That scene didn't work. Really.
yeah. Well,
That
I didn't want to spoil it, but that one caught me completely by surprise, and I was like, y'all could have covered a better scenario for this though.
yeah,
Like I
I
get it,
get it,
it want to be
but yeah,
something
didn't work.
frightening and
Because
weird
the reason why it
whatnot,
didn't
but
work, the reason why it didn't work is because I didn't understand how the space baboon surprised him, and that didn't make any noise.
oh
He
no,
broke.
I
Yeah.
thought you would have seen the context of it because they could
No,
have just
no.
set up a little context as to what's going on, why.
Right.
Yeah, it just kind of comes and it's just, oh, surprise, space baboon.
Right. Right. And I find, but my problem is I don't understand how the space baboon did that without him warning the other guy. I didn't get that. Like it was his comms was off. I couldn't follow how it is that the space baboon sneakily killed him, break his helmet, tear up his face, and that no noise was made. I don't
True,
understand that.
exactly.
That
And
didn't make
then
sense.
another
And it
scene
happened so
which,
fast. Eh?
yeah, it happened fast, and then another scene which I like from well, a story perspective, but I wish that they could have expanded a little bit more. was when Roy snuck back onto the ship that he
Right.
was in
I
at the
thought
movie.
that. Okay, so that was another moment I didn't like
Yeah,
because
like I get it, but they just rush
right,
it too quick, man. And the
exactly, and
payoff though, like I understand
thought,
the payoff of
thought
the isolation and loneliness that the character feels afterwards, but still
right.
it's like
No,
nah, it just happened too quick, man.
right. I don't like that I didn't like that that happened the way it did because it's like, oh well, we have to arrest you now for now, and instead of just saying, 'cause what they could do is just say, look, just if they really need to be sneaky or something like that, just have him say, look, we gonna lay you on board and then we're gonna arrest you later, and then they sneak up and then they set a plan up and then he gets suspicious at that and then he stopped them. But
Yeah.
they just I find that was just kind of clumsy personally. I didn't really
Yeah,
care for that.
like even I mean, say what about Interstellar? Like remember that part where I think one of the characters was trying to dock with the big
Yeah,
ship,
no, right,
and
right,
right, and
exactly.
you see like
Right.
how they build that up with the tension. Right,
Exactly.
that's what I felt they could have done with that scene.
Yeah, Matt Damon did that so much better in my opinion. They did that with Matt Damon in thing where he set them up and it had a explosion where he gave them false data. So the one guy died with the thing and then he
Yeah,
pulled the plug off of Cooper thing. That made more sense, like to set up the situation. This one didn't work as well. Well,
yeah, but I do like the payoff though with, well, I guess it was just an excuse to have Brad Pitt be by himself, and
right.
just those moments work for me. I love how it transitions from like flashback, from a scene that happens before to what's going on presently. They do it in a subtle way. It's one of those like, and they do it at some points where you had to kind of think back, oh, okay, so this happened before that. Okay, I get that.
Right.
Especially like in the two that involving him and his dad. The part with him and his dad, like I understand, like okay, this is the destination, this is what it's about. But I felt because
Yeah.
it's about a father and son, they could have just played that up just a little bit more. Just the timing of it
Yeah.
actually, because the movie's like
Yeah.
roughly
And
2 hours, but
I
it felt
find
like they could have added like a 10 minutes just to expand on things.
yes,
Now on the other
yes.
hand, just going back to Apocalypse Now, just one sec. I'm not expecting the drawn out moments with Marlon Brando. You know what I mean? You're just a grocery clerk here to collect a bill. You know what I mean? And all these monologues. I'm not asking for that, but it's a father and son thing. This is what you've been building to from the very beginning, and now you have it, and it just kind of like, oh well, I don't want to go back. Okay, but I have to do this job. Okay, and not gonna see what happens next, but that's it. They really could have fleshed out just a little bit more, in my opinion.
right.
Yeah.
As I say, this you're right. So this you're right about that. I thought they could have made a better case for why we see why you're doing what you're doing and whatnot. I mean, I kind of got what he was going for, but it was just a little too. It just felt too straightforward and normal. And to say some big deep thing, I was like, no, it ain't no deep thing. It's like this is what we get.
Yeah,
But I still like
I
what
wish it was deep though. You know what I mean? I wish it was a little bit deeper.
okay. So I thought what didn't make sense to me again. I thought characters is like, wait, you couldn't like this thing that just had you mental, and he just had a breakdown because of this thing. But I thought it's like no, you could have just wait a little more for time, and he just couldn't accept that, and that was my issue with it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I was like, all right, well, I suppose that's interesting, but not that interesting. Like it's understandable, but not that
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Agreed, agreed.
Yeah, no. So this is kind of this last take. It like it does make ironically this makes a lot of the mistakes that Interstellar avoided.
True.
Right? Not necessarily a worse film than Interstellar, but it does
Oh
make a
no,
lot of
no,
that.
no, no, no. Yeah,
You're right. So it's a little things that Interstellar thought about and addressed, and this didn't do that. Um,
yeah.
However,
But we've been talking gripes and just flaws with the show because yes, the movie is not perfect. That that's the perfect 10 out of 10 masterpiece that a lot of people have been giving it. It does have issues in terms of I would say pacing and story and character development, and also before I forget, just major actors appearing and not really getting that much
yeah, a girl from
significant screen time. From
girl from
Nigga, who I want to see more of, from Liv Tyler to Donald
yeah,
Sutherland.
yeah, he
We,
didn't have anything. No, but your girl from Russian Doll, she had a little
yes.
part.
Oh, by the way, love the
It's
cameo for that. Cameo for that
yeah,
was perfect though, and it just added to the whole irony, to the whole I would say the commercialization of the planet that she
yeah,
on. Like I thought that would I thought that worked as well.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Yeah, but I just find with the other characters that were there, like especially Root and Donald, you could have seen more of them, and even Tommy Lee to the extent, like not enough Tommy. You know what I mean? Like I get
Right.
that it's about Brad and his internal journey and whatnot, but they could have given room for other people to shine too. Just saying. But yeah, but no, on to the good. So yes, Brad Pitt is fantastic in this. I love
Yeah.
how vulnerable he felt, how his character was, how
Right.
sympathetic he was. He was just
Right.
moody for the sake of being moody. You get where he's coming
Right.
from.
But it was similar to they played similar to how they had Gosling in First Man.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, very much. That's a perfect comparison. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it is the best performance he ever did because the man been putting out best performances for a long
Yeah.
while though. So I don't know. I really not gonna waste my time saying, "Oh, this is the best one," and this one comes in second place. I'm sorry, but if you're thinking this is the best thing you ever do in your life, well, that's all right. The cinematography for this is handled from the same guy who ironically enough, did the cinematography for Interstellar. Looks
Right. Right.
glorious. Like this is a
Yeah, look great.
beautiful looking movie.
They had some shots on Mars that look good.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
had
The
some.
Mars stuff look the Mars stuff look good. The the Neptune stuff look good. The interior stuff look good. And yes, even the moon stuff look good as well. I would say it draws a lot from like other sci-fi films. Of course, you see the 2001s. There was even like a few moments on Mars where I felt like I was looking at Blade Runner 2049. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah, yeah.
the bright
The
colors,
orange.
the brown and the orange, those kind of things.
Yeah, yeah.
It even has like a couple of psychedelic moments, which reminded me of like the room that Brad was in, and he was seeing the holograms, not the holograms, he's seeing the images of like Nietzsche. Remind me of like Soylent Green, for example, right? And a few
Yeah.
other like sci-fi films from the 70s. You could tell they pull in inspiration from. What I love do with the aesthetic is that it feels organic. It doesn't feel like hodgepodge of different ideas from other films, but like
Right. You
this is
clearly
like a
seen the.
realistic take of how space travel and how life in space would be like, you know, a few years from now. It felt real in that way. You know what I mean? I thought that the music was great as well. Max Richter did the score for this. This is it was really good, really not powerful, but it fit the tone of it. You know what I mean? It was moody when it needed to be. It was dark and tense, but it was also kind of like glorious and heartwarming when it needed to be as well too. And I thought that the supporting cast, I mean, they do their job, they do what they're supposed to do, but I just felt once again they could have gotten a little bit more from them. You know what I mean? Just like Apocalypse Now, like I mean, it wasn't so much about Martin Sheen. You had Robert Duvall, you had Marlon Brando. You know what I mean? You had all these big actors doing their thing. Even Dennis Hopper. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, doing their thing. I just felt like everybody else was just on the side. It was just all about Brad Pitt front and center, just being stoic and brooding. You know what I mean? Which worked, but still, you have all these great actors around you and just, like use them. You know what I mean? But overall, though, yeah, I mean, this is another solid sci-fi film. Like I say, as far as like space travel shows go this year, like well, I called four in total, including this one here. Yeah, this is right up there. Like I realized this decade has given us some great space age sci-fi films. You know what I mean? And well,
Yeah.
who knows what we're gonna get in the future? Especially in terms of just the detail. You know what I mean? Just the idea of space travel and how real we'll make it look and feel, and probably is. You know what I mean? So I read up to even the director James Gray wanted to feature the most realistic depiction of space travel that's been put in a movie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't really say, but I believe pretty
Yeah.
much
Yeah. Yeah.
99% of what I
It
saw in
felt
the
it
movie.
felt very plausible.
Yeah, even the oh gosh, I would say the fire extinguisher esque scene. That's all I was saying near the end involving Brad
Okay.
Pitt.
Right.
Even that's
No,
all I bought. I bought into
that,
that, and because it was
yeah.
so emotionally driven, I was like,
Right.
yeah, yeah, this is
But
great. This is great.
but with respect to the realism, they had little touches like well, I want a blanket, and it's like, oh, $125, little stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, that was cool. And
Yeah.
you could tell they pulled that from 2001. Like, there's the idea of
Yeah.
them going to space is like the equivalent of being on a plane. You know what I mean? You have
Yeah.
would you like some refreshments? Would you like a
Yeah.
blanket? Those kind of things. That worked for
Yeah.
me. So I love the world building. And there's the character piece. Well, there's the character study of Roy himself worked, but I just felt, and yes, and visuals were spectacular. but I just felt that pacing wise, it could have just been a little bit longer. They could have fleshed out characters a bit more and the motivations as well. And I get they were going for the whole apocalypse now vibe of things and really showing the dark side of space travel, but they could have thought things out just a little bit more. And I mean, especially with that whole space ape, space baboon thing that just came completely
Yeah,
out
that
of the way,
didn't work.
right?
Like I
Yeah,
get it. It didn't work for me.
yeah, but I love the pirate stuff. I thought the pirate stuff was
The
awesome
Pirates
though.
was
But yeah,
that Pirates.
but I wish you got more of it though. But whatever. So yeah, rating wise, while I would not see this is like and I wanted to put this as my top 10 for the year, but I don't know, maybe it will. Maybe the more I think about it, if I see it again, but it won't be like top 5. But for
Right.
now, strong 4 to 5, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I highly recommend you check it out. If you could, I didn't get around to seeing it in IMAX, but if you could see in IMAX, yeah, go see it there. I was thinking while I was watching it, this show would have benefited with 3D because like I saw Gravity in 3D, I saw
Right. Probably.
Martian and Interstellar in 3D. So this one I didn't see in 3D. I don't think it is in 3D, but I think it would have
Right.
benefited a bit with 3D, but maybe not.
Right.
But yeah, if you could see it on the biggest screen possible, go see it. But just don't go. I mean, if you come out of it and see this is a masterpiece and one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. I mean, props to you. I personally don't think so, but I mean, it's your opinion. But I do recommend that you do check out Ad Astra. What's your
Right.
final thoughts and rating on Ad Astra?
Yeah, as I said, it's good and very well executed. As I said, it gets a lot right. But I felt the script it punched up the script in the wrong ways. So I'd have cut the baboons and then do a better job of just making. Or I'd have probably might even change what the whole thing about Tommy Lee Jones was about. I just felt that was just kind of too straightforward and kind of bland, frankly. I wasn't too impressed with a lot of that. But it was still fine. And I can't be mad with any of it in that sense. That is it. I can't be mad at this. It was just good, but I didn't love it. I can't say I loved it.
Right.
But it's still solid.
Okay, so what would you rate it? What's the rating?
Oof, I still give it a high movie tone because again, the
All right,
good is
yeah,
very
cool, yeah.
yeah. They do a lot. A good, still a strong character piece on Brad Pitt's part. Tommy Lee Jones' part as well, like what he was about. I like it, but it didn't blow me away, but I still like it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And again, the building and all the set pieces were great for it. I just cut the baboon thing. Baboon thing don't work.
Yeah.
In my opinion, just feel like a kind of shock value. Oh, you need another action sequence here, kind of thing. And if it had served a purpose, I would have enjoyed it more, but it didn't really serve a purpose, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree too. Last thing that's what I say. This is actually the first film I've seen from director James Gray. He did the Lost City of Z, which you talked about, and which
right,
for some reason showed up on IndieWire's top 100 best movies of the decade. So I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it deserves to be there or not. I don't know. Maybe you could fill me in on that.
I personally don't think so, but yeah, okay.
But I mean, James Gray did his thing though. I mean, he has crafted, like I say, a great sci-fi film. I didn't expect it to be an adventure per se, but yeah, I got that sci-fi adventure out of this. And you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, sci-fi space films, man. I mean, for this decade has been strong for the most part. I like that. Once again, they don't have to be philosophical or existential like 2001, but they could entertain people whilst giving you the the glorious space stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is right up there. It's no masterpiece in my opinion, but it's up there. It's up there.
Yeah, it's good. It's still good. So
yeah.